Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to go through a tier list of all of the jokers in Balatro pertaining to going for high score runs, which is typically what I have been doing. A lot of you seemingly like my videos. A few of you have requested that I do a tier list just to show you what I'm thinking when we go through all of these jokers. There's 150 of them, as you can see. We're gonna briefly discuss most of them, but not really go in too much depth of all of them. We'll start off. This is an old one, so it's in the NA category. 8-ball is not really something that I'm interested in when we're going for high score runs. So we're typically thinking like Idle, Baron, Blueprint, Brainstorm, runs like that. The 8-ball is really not something we use that often, so it's definitely going into the D tier. Abstract, again, not really something that is going to be very powerful to us in the long run. So we're definitely going to be skipping this one and throwing it into the D tier as well. Moving on to the Acrobat. It's definitely not a joker that is going to help us evolve too much, but it can get us out of some tricky situations because it does have some good X mult on it in the early stage. So we'll go ahead and try or put that on the C tier. Ancient Joker is a pretty good joker for high score runs if you can get a wild build going. Not really something I've experimented with a ton, but it'll definitely be slotted in at the B tier. If you're playing on the plasma deck, Arrowhead is a very good joker for chips early, so I would leave it up into the B tier just because it's able to get you to excel into those higher score runs. It's a really easy way to start off your run and excel from there. The Astronomer Joker, free planet cards and free booster packs, planet booster packs, pretty strong, but not something you really absolutely need. I would throw it in the C category. I personally hate the banner because I like using my discards, so we're gonna toss that in the D tier. It's okay for chips early, but it definitely falls off very fast. Obviously, King Baron is going in the S tier. I'll show it up here. He is definitely the best joker for high score runs and kind of the most consistent to get those high score runs. The baseball card is fun to play with. He does fall off pretty fast because he only can really get you about times 1.5 per joker you get. So I'm gonna throw him in the C tier. He's fun but not essential. Same with Blackboard, going in this C tier. With high scoring runs, it is kind of hard to maneuver your deck to only get spades or clubs in your held hand. Bloodstone is our first A tier for sure. Bloodstone is a great card to get when you're going for high score runs, especially if you have an Idol, if you have an Oopsal 6s, if you have some Sock and Buskins, or perhaps even a hack. Blue Joker is a great joker to start out with. However, eventually he falls off pretty fast too, especially if you're using your discards. He'll get slotted in the C tier. Blueprint, probably one of the most versatile joker in the game, has the ability to do anything at all, so he's going above Baron. He literally just quite is the best joker in the game because he can be any joker in the game. Bootstraps definitely requires a lot of money. Not terrible, but doesn't scale particularly well. I'm going to throw him in the D tier. Typically not something you're going for high score run wise. Brainstorm, right behind Blueprint, is a little less versatile because you have to maneuver it so it only copies the front card. So realistically, he doesn't work for every scenario depending on what you're trying to accomplish first, but a very good joker. The Bull is a very good chip scaling joker. He typically isn't used for crazy high score runs, but I'll throw him in the C tier just because there is a really good chip scaling, and if you're using the plasma deck, that is going to help you out a lot early on. Burglar, this one might surprise you. When you're going for Nan Imp runs, Burglar is potentially the end game joker that you need, allowing you to have all of the hands copying it with the Serpent. It is one of the ways to get Nan Imp without using a legendary Joker. He's going to go in the B tier, even though he's not typically used at the start of the game. He's going to be used at the end a lot. Burnt Joker is a pretty decent card to have. You definitely would like to have some duplicators in order to make him work in your run, so I'll throw him at the C tier. Good utility out of the Burnt Joker, but typically not exactly what you're trying to go for. Business card is good for money early on, so I will toss them at the C tier, especially if you're going for face cards. You're going to get those $2 for every face card you played, 50% chance. Couple him with an Oops All Sixes, he's not that bad. Canio, probably one of my least favorite legendary Jokers, just because you have to destroy your face cards to make it go up, but ultimately not bad. We'll throw him in the C tier. Campfire, not really a fan. You can definitely get things going with the Campfire, however it does reset after every round, so not the best in my opinion. Card Sharp is a very decent Joker. In terms of high scoring, not necessarily the best, but can get you through those intermediate rounds. Cartomancer, one of my personal favorites, gonna go in the B tier. Getting Arcana packs and tarot cards is very, very important when you're going for high scores. You really want to thin out your deck and get it very even and level, and Cartomancer early on is a way to do that. Castle is really good for chips if you have a lot of discards, but it can be very time consuming to build upon, so it's going to go in the C tier. Cavendish as well, I'm going to throw it in the C tier. Typically those base X malt Jokers aren't going to help you out very much in the super high scoring rounds. However, ×3 on a common Joker is very, very good. Unfortunately, you need the banana to get there. Dagger, I'm not going to show any love today. There's definitely some good use cases for the dagger. However, going for high score runs, it does not help. This one's going to surprise you as well. Certificate's going to go in B tier. If you can get your hands on a certificate early, getting cards with seals on them is highly important. So I'm going to throw it in the B tier. Sometimes you run it a few times, get a red seal, get a blue seal, get a couple purple seals. Those are all going to help progress your run very fast. Chaos the Clown, probably going to go in D tier. At most it saves you $5, which is okay, but I don't think it's worth taking up a Joker slot long term with it. Shiko is all right as a legendary Joker. However, going for high score runs again, typically you want the vouchers instead, so this one becomes relatively useless. It's going to go in D tier. We got your 2-pair Joker here. Not going to be amazing for high score runs, so we're going to throw it in the D tier. Cloud9 is a fun Joker to have, and I would love to have a game where I have all 9s. However, high score runs, not amazing. Now we have Constellation. I'm going to throw it up in the B tier. This is a very, very good scaling Joker for X-Malt. You're not going to get that top tier high scores with it, but you can progress with it very, very well. If you check out one of my most recent videos, I had a ×7 Constellation, and it helped a lot. Your Flush Joker, we're going to throw it in the D tier. Again, none of these common Jokers are really going to help out that much. Same with your Straight Joker. Credit Card is going in the D tier. Delayed Gratification is not my favorite for money at all, because you typically need to use discards in order to make the hands that you want. The other Straight Joker going in D tier. We'll put Diet Cola in C tier. Sometimes getting those double tags, especially for voucher skips, is really important for higher stakes. DNA, one of my personal favorite Jokers. I'm going to throw him in the A tier. There's a lot of reasons that you might want to use a DNA. One of them can be to make more cards in your deck that you have. The other one is to increase your hand size when you're playing Baron. So there's a few key uses for that. Driver's License is going to go in the C tier. It's a good ×malt Joker, similar to Cavendish, just takes a little longer to get online. We're going to throw the other Flush Joker in the D tier as well. We'll take the Drunkard. We can toss that in the C tier. I personally do like having a lot of discards in my runs, so the Drunkard can go in the C tier for now. Dusk is going to go back up into the A tier. Anything that kind of re-triggers your cards is going to be highly important if you're going for idle builds, flush 5 builds, stuff like that. Egg is up next here. He's going to go in the C tier. You can make a lot of things work with the egg. Temperance value, swashbuckler, stuff like that. It's also just a good storage of value. Economy jokers are very important. Erosion is going to go in the D tier. Not a bad joker at all, but just for high scoring attempts, it's not what you typically want to go for. We have Even Steven here is going to go in the D tier. Faceless Joker is going to go in the D tier. Deleting all of your face cards is really not what you want to do for high scores. Fibonacci, Ace 7, 8, something like that. Decent mult Joker at the start, but D tier for high scores. Four Fingers, you want to normally play high card or flush 5, so it doesn't really apply to us. JJ Joker, rerolls are good, but flat mult isn't going to happen. Flower Pot, I have honestly never got a Flower Pot run to go well for me, going in the D tier. Fortune Teller, I'm going to throw in C. If you happen to do a lot of times mult, you're always going to be using a lot of tarot cards for these high score runs. So if you are short on that base mult, that flat mult, Fortune Teller is pretty good. Same with the gift card. It's an economy based joker. I'm happy to pick it up when I can. It allows temperance to be very, very good. Glass Joker, I recently had a run with. I'm gonna put it in the C tier for now, just because it does scale very fast if you have the ability to do so, but it's very, very niche and unique. Our Club Joker here is going in D tier. Golden Joker, I'm gonna throw in C tier. You pick him up for $6. After 2 turns, you get the money back, so I'm happy to pick him up. Golden Ticket is going in D tier. Typically, I would rather, if I'm playing high card builds, just leave those gold cards in my hand and get the money from them that way. Our Diamond Joker, our Green Joker are both going to go into D tier. Green Joker is pretty good. However, again, with these typical high score builds, you're going to want to use your discards in order to get the best possible options. Banana, I'm going to throw in C tier. A great starting out joker for flat mult, especially if you're not playing the plasma deck, and also gives you the ability to get Cavendish. Pack is going into our A tier. Not as good as Sock and Buskin, however, a very, very good use for re-triggering 5 through 2s. Half Joker, I'm not a fan of. It's going to sit in our D tier here. Pack's at A. I'm sorry, I have to scroll down a little bit. Hallucination, okay, this one is not bad at all. It's going in B tier. 1 out of 2 chance when you open a booster pack to get tarot cards. Any tarot pack generation is important in high score runs, okay? Highly, highly important. Hanging Chad, one of my favorite, one of my most purchased jokers, definitely going in the A slot. You can do photo Chad builds with it. It works with idols, it works with photograph, it works with hack. Sock and Buskin, very versatile. Hiker is fun to pick up, but probably going in the D tier for high score runs. Hit the Road Jack is in the same spot there. Not sure why it gave me the Glass Joker here again, but I'll throw it back in the C tier where I had him. Since it's duplicated, we'll throw it in the NA. Ice Cream, I'm gonna throw it in C tier. Honestly, and maybe even B tier. The only reason I'm doing this is because of the start game. If you're playing Plasma Deck, Ice Cream is a great joker to have at the start. It gives you a lot of chips. It allows you to manipulate your deck with the money instead of looking for jokers. Invisible Jokers is one of my favorite and is going to go in the A tier. Having the ability to copy any of your S tier jokers or even your other A tier jokers, I find highly important. We have Jimbo Joker here. He's going to go in D tier. I'm sorry, just +4 mult isn't going to do it for me. Joker Stencil is very fun to use, but very niche and very hard. We'll throw him at C tier. Our Para Joker going in D tier. Juggler, D tier. I hate this one. It's basically every 6th turn you get ×4 mult. Very hard to make work. Our next Joker here, however, though, is the Luchador. We're going to throw him all the way up in B tier. Now, with high score runs, there is a many bosses that can screw you over, like the Psychic, the Plant, and a few other ones. Being able to not have to worry about a boss blind is very, very good. Other than Chico being down here, the only reason is this one is more of a permanent staple. You sell this and get rid of it. Also, it's common. This is legendary, so I would rather have more value for my legendary Joker. Up next, we have the Lucky Cat, one of my other favorite Jokers to get working. We're gonna throw it in the B tier for now. Reason it's not any higher is you definitely need a lot of lucky cards in order to get it online, but it does scale very fast. Working it with like a Hanging Chad or a Hack or a Sock and Buskin or something like that, very, very powerful. Our Heart Joker going to the D tier. Our 2-pair Joker, D tier. Madness is really good on runs that have Eternal Jokers. White Stake, not so good. Mail-in Rebate, I say, is going to be the first A tier economy Joker, especially if you have a Flush 5 build and you have a Blueprint or Brainstorm. It can print you a ton of money. $5 for every card discarded. Very, very good. Stone Joker, fun to use, not typically something you need for high score runs. Matador, haven't really worked with him a lot. $8 isn't enough for me. Mary Andy is going to go in the C tier. Gives you more discards, but very situational. If you need hand size, that -1 hand size can hurt. Midas Mask is going to go in C tier. If you get it early, you can convert a lot of your face cards to gold, which is typically what you want to do already if you're going for like a Baron build or something. So having the Midas Mask there early on is quite good. Later in the game, not so good. Mime is going in S tier. You need a Mime if you want to do a Baron build. He is just going in S tier. It's one of the best Jokers in the game if you're playing with the Baron. Obviously situational, but that's why this is the high score tier list. This is not just what I think or my favorite Jokers. The tier list would be completely different. Misprint is all right. He's going to go in D tier because it is so erratic at what actually happens. Mr. Bones, D tier. Can't say I've ever actually used him effectively, especially if you're going for those high scores. One E isn't even 25% of the next E, so Mr. Bones does not work out great. Mystic Summit, really, really good Joker, similar to Banana early on, especially because you're probably going to use those discards. So I'm going to slot him in the C tier. Obelisk, going in the C tier, is very hard to pull off, but is the fastest scaling X-Mult Joker there is. So because of that, I'm going to throw him in C tier, but because of the hardness, it's going to go down and not be considered a top tier Joker in my opinion. Odd Todd is going to go in D tier for high score runs. Onyx Agate, probably C tier. Again, very good early on, but does definitely lower its value in the future here. Oops All Sixes is going to go into the B tier. This helps with Flush 5 builds with Lucky Cat. It helps you get money. It pairs good with Photo Chad and Hack and Sock and Buskin, all of the above. Paradolia, I'm gonna throw it in C tier. Very situational. It can make your 2s and 3s turn into face cards. However, it uses an extra Joker slot to do that. So you're ultimately going to be a little bit weaker than you would be just playing face cards. Perkio, it's S tier. It's got to be one of the best legendary Jokers to get for high score runs. Copying those consumables can get you a lot of money, can get you a lot of deck fixing, can get you Observatory, can get you a ton of cryptids, can make Nat Imp 3 other ways. So absolutely an S tier Joker there. Photograph, definitely putting it in the A tier. One of my most bought Jokers ever, in my opinion. A little overpowered, especially with Hanging Chad. You pair these two together, you have a beginning of a high score run on your hands. Popcorn, in my opinion, not as good as Ice Cream, so he's gonna go in the D tier actually, because Popcorn does -4 with 20 mult, but flat mult for these plasma deck runs, not as important as a bunch of chips. Raised Fist, going in the D tier. Don't use it a lot, don't love it. Ramen, D tier. I love using my discards, not gonna be good. Red card, I'm gonna throw it in the C tier simply because it is the fastest scaling base malt joker in the game. Some of you might not think that, but when you actually look at its stats and how you scale it up, you can get a red card pretty good. Reserve parking, actually a very decent joker here. It's gonna go in the C tier. Now the reason being that is mostly because of Baron runs where you're holding cards in your deck all of the time, so reserve parking is very good for that. Ride the bus is going in the D tier. Riff Raff early on is gonna go C tier. If you get a Riff Raff, you're able to get Hanging Chad and Photograph very early from it. Almost want to creep it into the B tier. It's definitely high on the C tier list in my opinion. However, it's very situational, and eventually you're not going to have joker slots to fill, so it's not going to be good enough for you. Showman is going in the A tier. Now, Showman overall, if you're not going for high score runs, maybe not the most powerful, but when you're going for high score runs, the ability to find another blueprint, to find another brainstorm, to find another any A or S tier joker is highly important, and I take them almost all of the time if I have the space for it. Rocket, one of my favorite scaling economy jokers, gonna go in the C tier here. If you get it early, it can make you a ton of money as the run progresses, and economy is king in this game 100%, especially if you are going for high score runs. Rough Gem, unfortunately I'm gonna throw it in the D tier. Again, it is an economy based joker. Simply playing for diamonds, I don't think it's worth enough getting $1 per card. There's other economy jokers that are much better for this, like one discard of mail-in rebate does everything a Rough Gem can do. The runner is also going to go in D tier. Straights are just not the way to get high score builds, unfortunately. I'm talking about the extremely high score builds. Seance, Satellite, both going in D tier. There's just better jokers out there. Scary Face, it's going in B tier. Now that sounds really weird. However, when you pair it with Sock and Buskin or a Hanging Chad or something, it's a very good chip joker early on to help you set up for the higher score runs. Now this is again based on trying to get a high score run, so I would pick up Scary Face when I'm going for high score runs so I can progress through a little bit easier. Scholar, it's going in D tier. I'm sorry. Seeing Double, it's going in D tier. Doesn't do enough for me. Seltzer, gonna be a B tier joker. Obviously not as powerful as Hack or Sock and Buskin, but in a pinch, if you need more retriggers, it's good for 10 rounds. And typically when you're playing high score runs, you only need one hand to get through, so you can get through 3 antes and 1 extra round with the Seltzer if you use it properly. Shoot the Moon, Short Circuit, both going in D tier. Not huge fans of them, don't pick them up a lot. Flat Malt and Straights, again, Straights aren't really the answer for high score runs. Okay, we're throwing it in B tier. Now, the reason I'm throwing it in B tier is because if you're on the Plasma deck and you want to try and go for a crazy Nanymph run, maybe you have a Perkio, you would love to get a Cryptid in your consumable slot. And I think this joker, well, this is joker other than Seance, is really the only way to get Spectra cards on the Plasma deck in your consumable slot. So we're putting that in the B tier. Hair Joker, Smear Joker, both going in D tier. Happy Face I will slot up in the C tier area. It's not as good as Scary Face, but when you pair it with your Sock, or when you pair it with your Hanging Chad and your Photograph, it does do pretty good because it adds that malt that the Photograph doubles. Sock and Buskin is going in A tier. It's not the be all end all joker like the ones we have here in S. However, if you get a Sock and Buskin, it is a very good pickup if you're going for those face cards. Space Joker, it's going in D tier. I'm sorry, 1 in 4 chance to level up my hand. I could typically buy the hands better, and that's just the way it goes. Spare trousers, 2 pairs are fun. However, again, it's not a really good high score joker. Splash is going D tier. Square joker is going B or D tier. Steel joker is going D tier. Stone joker D tier. Stuntman, it's going up in B. The reason behind that is very similar to Scary Face, is it's a really good way of getting chips. Stuntman on Plasma deck can carry you to ante 4, ante 5. In that time, you can save up some money, you can do your deck fixing, you can do everything else. You don't have to worry about what jokers you're getting. You can worry about the money you're spending to get the jokers that you need to elevate that run. It's a really good joker. Supernova, it's going D tier, just flat mult. Superposition, I'm actually going to throw in C. Now, it generates tarot cards. In the early stages, you can throw up some straights with the ace, either high or low, and get some free tarot cards out of that. I do find it to be worth it. Swashbuckler is a good flat malt joker, so I'll throw it in C, especially if you pair it up with an egg or a gift card or something. So I have those two in C tier, so I'm going to throw Swashbuckler in there as well. Now we're coming up to all of the family jokers. I'm pretty much going to throw them all in the C tier, except for this one, the actual family. It's going to go B tier. This is one of the best times mult jokers in the game, especially if you're going to just play the flush 5 4 of a kind builds. Times 4 is very strong and powerful. Obviously things are better than it, but it can be very good for you. The idol, going in S tier. If you want to get to a very strong high score run using flush 5s, using hacks, stuff like that, you're gonna need an idol. You're gonna need a few of them. You're also gonna need to perfectly pair your deck, which does take a long time. However, the idol can elevate you there very fast. We now have our straight X malt joker here. It's gonna go in D tier. Our flush gonna go in D tier, and our 3 of a kind in C tier. Those are just easier to pull off, and these are only times 2 and times 3. In my opinion, not the best. Our blind skipping joker gonna go in D tier. Unfortunately, for these high score runs to take place, you don't want to skip too much. You want to see as many shops as possible, as many booster packs as possible. Not the most amazing thing. Our to-do list is gonna go into the C tier here, just because it is, if you get it early and you get like a high card or a pair, you can generate like $8 to $16 per round, which is very good. However, if you get stuck with like straight flush or 5 of a kind, something like that early on, it is hard. So that's why I'm throwing in C tier. To the moon, also gonna get C tier. Pair it up with seed money and money tree, it can make you a ton of money. However, it's very situational. It does take up a joker slot and is not the best. I'm gonna throw trading card in A tier. Not only does it generate you money, but it deck thins for you for the cost of 1 discard. Very good card, very powerful to get your deck to the perfect symmetrical layer that you want it to be. Trading card, one of my favorite pickups when I see it. Tribule is going to be the other S tier legendary joker up here. Times 2 on kings and queens. Pair it up with a sock and buskin, pair it up with a dusk, a seltzer, all of the above. Blueprint, brainstorm, the idol, very powerful. It's basically an idol, but you don't have to pare down your deck for it to work all the time. Troubadour, one of my favorites. It's gonna go in B tier. Doesn't deserve C tier because it is very powerful for hand size with the Baron and the Mime. However, you do lose a hand, which I don't find to be that important. The reason you don't normally carry it is there's just other jokers in this section that are more powerful, so if you can pick them up, you will, and you'll drop Troubadour. But early on, to get that extra hand size, you can make those hands quite well. Same with the Turtle Bean. Not going to go in B, but going to go in C. Obviously a little bit better than the Troubadour at the start, but because it is perishable, it's going to hit C tier for me here. Vagabond, let's go on D tier. I like to have money, so playing hands with under $4 just isn't it. Vampire, not that bad at scaling. Pair it up with Midas Mask can make a monster of a game. However, not very good to remove all of my additions and stuff at the end of the game, like my steel and my gold. Walkie Talkie is going D tier, doesn't do enough for me. This is the Wii Joker. Honestly, it's gonna go B tier. I have a video coming out where I have an astronomical Wii Joker, so I hope you go ahead and watch that video. Very, very fun to play around. Make it with a hack and a dusk and a seltzer, anything that can re-trigger. Get some red seals on that. It's a very, very powerful chip joker, and that's why it's sitting in B with the other chip jokers that I have. 3 of a kind joker, we're out. Spade joker, we're out. Yorick, very easy to get online. All you have to do is discard. So I'm gonna put it in A. It's not really an S tier joker because it would take forever to get it to the effectiveness as a Perkio or a Triboulet, but I'm not going to complain if I get it out of a soak card. Absolutely not. Our last joker here is another 3 of a kind one, and that's our list. I'm going to download this list and post it up on my YouTube page. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you would change, and maybe this helps some of you reference back when you're going for high score runs. This is my opinion. This is not the most functional correct list in the world, but this is just what I believe. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a good day, take care, and goodbye.